Prince William and Prince Harry are left in tears as King Charles reveals Princess Diana's final wish. Emotional moments unfold as the royal family reflects on her enduring legacy and heartfelt desires. Prince William and Prince Harry break down in tears as King Charles shares Princess Diana's final wish. The royal brothers are visibly emotional, reflecting on their mother's enduring love and guidance. This touching revelation highlights Diana's legacy, leaving the royal family and the world deeply moved by her heartfelt message. After setting the stage with the importance of technology and storytelling, it is essential to first understand the emotional and historical backdrop of Diana's letters. Writing for her was never just about communication. It was an outlet, a safe space to pour her thoughts when the public spotlight became too overwhelming. In a world where every gesture was scrutinized by tabloids, handwritten letters offered her privacy, intimacy, and control over her own narrative. They became the hidden diary of a woman trapped in a palace of tradition yet longing for freedom. To truly grasp their significance, we must look beyond the paper and ink. These letters encapsulate the late princess's vulnerability, her struggles with isolation, her love for her children, and her suspicions about forces working against her. Some lines appear ordinary, simple words from a mother to a friend, yet when read collectively, they reveal patterns of fear, resilience, and even prophecy. This is where modern technology becomes more than just a tool. It becomes a bridge that connects us to a story frozen in time. Archivists and historians have begun using advanced digitization techniques to preserve fragile documents like Diana's letters. High-resolution scanners capture every detail of the handwriting, while AI-powered handwriting recognition helps decode faint smudged or even rushed words that are difficult for the human eye to decipher. Through these digital archives, researchers can safely analyze the text without risking damage to the original paper. Even the tiniest variations in ink density, pressure, or pen stroke can now be examined, revealing the emotional intensity behind certain passages. Equally fascinating is the role of deep learning algorithms in contextual analysis. By comparing Diana's writings with thousands of other historical documents, these systems detect recurring themes, keywords, and sentiments. For example, the frequent appearance of words like fear, danger, or alone across different letters strengthens the interpretation that she felt her safety was threatened long before her tragic accident. Technology, therefore, does not replace human intuition, but rather enhances it, providing researchers with insights they might otherwise overlook. Transitioning from the technical to the personal, it is striking how these letters humanize Diana beyond the headlines. When combined with digital restoration technologies, the letters can even be visually reconstructed for audiences today. Imagine seeing not only the words themselves, but also the very texture of the page, the flow of the ink, and the tiny imperfections that make each letter unique. Augmented reality tools can project these documents into virtual spaces, allowing viewers to experience them as if they were holding them in their own hands. In this sense, technology allows us to step closer to Diana's world, bridging the gap of nearly 3 decades. Thus, Part 2 sets the foundation for the deeper exploration ahead. The letters are not just relics locked in archives, they are living documents whose voices are amplified through the lens of modern innovation. With the combination of human curiosity and technological power, we are able to peel back layers of mystery that once seemed inaccessible. As we move forward, we will uncover not just what Diana wrote, but the haunting implications her words continue to hold. As we move deeper into the story, the question shifts from what Diana wrote to why she chose certain words and phrases. Letters, after all, are more than a sequence of sentences. They are coded reflections of the writer's state of mind. Diana's correspondence often carried subtle hints, moments where her choice of words seemed carefully calculated, almost as if she knew future generations might one day analyze them. To unravel these hidden meanings, researchers increasingly turn to technology that can decode not only language, but also emotion and intent. One of the most powerful tools in this effort is forensic linguistics, combined with AI-driven sentiment analysis. By feeding Diana's letters into specialized software, experts can measure fluctuations in tone, detect stress markers, and even identify patterns of self-censorship. For instance, a seemingly harmless phrase such as, "I must be careful," gains weight when sentiment analysis consistently links it to passages expressing fear or mistrust. The machine does not interpret emotion in isolation. It compares thousands of similar phrases across contexts, creating a web of connections that reveal underlying anxieties. Equally groundbreaking is the use of digital ink analysis. With high-resolution multispectral imaging, scientists can study how ink interacts with paper fibers. This allows them to detect overwritten words, faded corrections, or even erased sentences that the naked eye cannot perceive. In Diana's case, such methods have revealed moments where she hesitated, where an initial phrase was crossed out and replaced with something more cautious. These small details suggest a woman who was aware of the risks of expressing herself too openly, even in private letters. Technology therefore acts as a magnifying glass, exposing the vulnerability hidden between the lines. Transitioning from analysis to visualization, data mapping technologies offer another dimension. By digitally charting recurring themes, such as children, betrayal, loneliness, and danger, researchers can create interactive maps of Diana's emotional landscape. Instead of reading letters individually, these maps allow us to see patterns across time. For example, the frequency of words connected to fear increases significantly in the months leading up to 1997, a chilling reminder of the turmoil surrounding her final years. Without computational tools, such trends would remain buried in piles of paper. But technology does not merely dissect, it also reconstructs. Using natural language processing (NLP), some researchers have experimented with predictive modeling to imagine how Diana might have continued an unfinished thought. While this remains controversial, it highlights the extent to which modern AI is able to bridge gaps in fragmented archives. It is not about rewriting history, but about offering possible interpretations where the record is incomplete. Ultimately, these innovations transform Diana's letters from static artifacts into dynamic sources of insight. They allow us to hear her voice more clearly, not as filtered by tabloids or official statements, but in her own words, layered with emotion, fear, and resilience. In combining human empathy with machine precision, technology gives us a rare opportunity to stand at the crossroads of history and uncover truths that once seemed forever hidden. And yet, as revealing as these tools may be, the greatest mystery still lies ahead. What exactly did Diana foresee in her writings, and how might her warnings resonate in today's royal family? Having explored the subtle codes and emotional undertones within Diana's letters, we now turn to the most unsettling part of her writings, the explicit warnings she left behind. These were not mere reflections of loneliness or sorrow. They were predictions, almost premonitions, that something terrible was awaiting her. Among the most cited passages are lines where she claimed to feel watched, trapped, and even in danger of being silenced. To her closest confidants, these words may have seemed like the fears of a vulnerable woman, but when read today, they appear chillingly prophetic. One of the most shocking revelations comes from letters in which Diana suggested that her life might be cut short in a so-called accident. The phrasing she used was deliberate, almost as if she wanted to leave behind a record that would outlive her. For historians and the public alike, these lines have fueled decades of speculation about whether her tragic car crash in Paris was truly an accident or something far more sinister. Here, technology plays a crucial role in separating speculation from substance. Through forensic document examination enhanced by AI, imaging experts are able to verify the authenticity of Diana's handwriting. Advanced algorithms can detect whether a letter was forged, altered, or tampered with after it was written. In Diana's case, these tools have consistently confirmed that her most alarming passages are indeed genuine, written in her own hand and under emotional duress. This digital verification helps eliminate doubts and strengthens the credibility of her warnings. Equally important is the use of contextual analysis with big data technologies. By cross-referencing Diana's letters with thousands of newspaper articles, interviews, and royal schedules from the same period, researchers can reconstruct a timeline of events surrounding her fears. For instance, if she wrote about being followed or manipulated, data mapping often reveals parallel media reports about increased paparazzi surveillance or political tensions within the monarchy. This cross-linking of personal narrative with public record transforms isolated claims into verifiable patterns. Moreover, machine learning algorithms now assist in detecting anomalies within her writings. If Diana suddenly shifted tone from optimism to dread within a single week, the system flags this as significant. When compared across months or years, these spikes in anxiety create a psychological timeline that aligns with major events in her life, such as her divorce, public scandals, and strained relationships with the royal household. Technology in this way brings a scientific lens to what might otherwise be dismissed as subjective interpretation. Transitioning to the wider impact these revelations force us to reconsider the way history is told. Without digital preservation and computational analysis, Diana's warnings might have remained fragmented whispers, dismissed as paranoia or speculation. Instead, they now stand as documented evidence of a woman who sensed the forces working against her. In conclusion, Part 4 highlights the most haunting aspect of Diana's letters, not just her emotions, but her predictions. And thanks to modern technology, these words can no longer be ignored as private fears. They resonate today as part of a larger mystery still unfolding. As we move into the next stage, the focus will shift to how these revelations shaped public perception and continue to influence debates about truth, power, and secrecy within the royal family. The shocking revelations found within Diana's letters did not remain confined to historians and researchers. Once fragments of her writings began circulating in the public sphere, they ignited a firestorm of debate, speculation, and intense media coverage. Diana had always been known as the people's princess, and these private confessions only deepened that bond. To many, her letters offered proof that she was a victim of forces far greater than herself. To others, they raised uncomfortable questions about power, secrecy, and responsibility within the royal institution. Mainstream media quickly seized upon the most dramatic passages, often publishing headlines that emphasized danger, betrayal, and prophecy. Television programs and newspapers presented her words as evidence of a larger conspiracy, fueling decades-long speculation surrounding her death. At the same time, these reports attracted criticism, with some arguing that the letters were being sensationalized, stripped of their nuance, and used to feed public fascination rather than to honor Diana's truth. Today, however, the way these letters influence the public has evolved dramatically. Thanks to social media platforms and digital analytics tools, it is now possible to measure public reaction in real time. Technologies such as sentiment analysis use natural language processing (NLP) to scan millions of online comments, tweets, and posts, categorizing them into positive, negative, or neutral tones. Applied to discussions around Diana's letters, these systems reveal fascinating patterns: spikes of sympathy whenever excerpts are shared, waves of suspicion whenever theories about her death resurface, and enduring admiration that consistently dominates the conversation. Equally important is the role of data visualization and network analysis. By mapping online discussions, researchers can see how certain themes such as conspiracy, loneliness, or betrayal spread across communities. Visual graphs show how a single leaked letter can ripple outward, first picked up by niche royal forums, then amplified by journalists, and finally becoming a global trend across Twitter or TikTok. This technological layer demonstrates how Diana's words, though written decades ago, remain alive in the modern digital landscape. Another innovation lies in the use of AI-driven media monitoring platforms, which track not only what is said, but also how narratives shift over time. For instance, when newly discovered letters are made public, these platforms detect whether mainstream coverage leans toward empathy, skepticism, or sensationalism. This provides a clearer data-backed view of how Diana's legacy is continuously reshaped by both journalists and the audience consuming their work. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss out on the latest updates. Stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next video.